Okay, let's get started with the settings. So, first, window mode, you want that on full screen because windowed and windowed full screen both give you a lot of input delay. So full screen's your best bet. Resolution 1920 by 1080. I use it because I'm a content creator, I need to make my game look nice. But if you just purely play comp and you're not really worried about it looking that nice, you can lower it to 1600 by 900. Or even lower if you want. If you have a not so good PC and you need that FPS boost, then just lower it there. I'm going to keep mine on 1920. And your frame rate limit, the rule of thumb about frame rate limits is you go one up from your monitor's refresh rate. So if you have a 60Hz monitor, you can leave it on 60 or turn it up to 120. If you have a 120, turn it up to 144, 144, 160. If you have a 165Hz monitor, 180, and so forth. Unlimited, I wouldn't use it. Your game stutters a lot. And if you have a 360Hz monitor, well, you're a rich bitch. Now, onto brightness. Personal preference, really. I'd keep it around the 100% mark. If you lower it to 50%, your game's going to look pretty awful. If you make it too high, your game's going to look way too bright. So I usually keep it at a 100% mark. User interface contrast. This is purely just for settings, so as you can see, it makes no difference to my game. But your settings do change. I mean, if you want, you can turn that up, but I wouldn't. Colorblind mode, there is really no need to mess around with that. Epic recently changed the color settings, so it's probably best to just stay on off settings. But I do know that Mongrel plays on Deuteronomy 10, so if you want to try that out, you can. It looks okay, but I don't really see a reason why you should play on it. It doesn't really change the visibility of people through the storm, so I just keep it off. And then your auto set quality, you really don't want to use this button. If you press it, it's gonna basically make up a really weird sort of configuration of your graphics quality settings based on your computer specs. Don't use that. Just put all of your settings on low and your 3D resolution to 100%. The only two settings I would change are your view distance. This is, if you think it helps, turn it up to epic, but honestly, you probably just want to have it on near. Shadows is bad, turn that off. Anti-aliasing, I guess you can mess around with that if you want. Textures, I've heard that if you turn it up to high, it can help with your FPS if you have a GPU bottleneck and all that. But I'm just keeping it on low. Effects and post-processing, I'd put it on low as well. Okay, now on to VSync. VSync is very bad. It gives you a lot of input delay, and you really don't need it unless you get some horizontal screen tearing or vertical screen tearing for that matter. I wouldn't use it. It's terrible. Motion blur off, unless you're making montages or something. I'd turn that off because according to Fortnite, it can give you nausea. So maybe don't use it. Show FPS, it's personal preference. I'd put it on just to see what you're getting in game. As you can see in the top right, it says 240 FPS. So yeah, you can turn that off or on if you want. DirectX version, I'd stick with 11. DirectX 12 can give you stable FPS, but it's not really reliable. It crashes all the time and it's just not great. It's still beta as well, so I'd leave that on DirectX 11. Allow multi-threaded rendering, definitely put that on. It helps your CPU use up all of the cores in the CPU, so you definitely want to put that on, unless your CPU has, say, less than 4 cores, in which case you may not want to use it because it would probably cause lower FPS. GPU crash debugging, all this is sending your information to Epic, and we don't want that because Epic are bad. I'm joking, please don't kill me. Latency markers, this is in correlation with the new NVIDIA Reflex low latency mode, where it just reduces your latency. So if you turn this and I think this and then some other setting, or is it latency debug stats, it basically gives you like a rundown of what your input delay is, not your ping, your input delay. So I guess you can have that on if you want, just test it out, but I would turn it off in game. Now, NVIDIA Reflex low latency mode, I would recommend putting it on plus boost. I've heard some reports that on plus boost doesn't make a difference, but I would probably put it on plus boost. Definitely don't keep it off because it reduces your latency in GPU bound scenarios, so you definitely want that on. And then DLSS, I don't really know what the story is with that. I would keep it off, but I guess if you want to mess around with that, you can change the performance or whatever you want, but I really wouldn't mess with that. Now to my game settings, my region is Europe. Toggle sprint, I mean, it's basically rendered useless by this setting. Sprint by default, which means you don't have to press a key to sprint, so definitely put sprint by default on and toggle this off, it doesn't make a difference. Sprint cancels reloading off, auto open doors, personal preference, I personally like it on. Hold to swap pickup, I have that off. Toggle targeting off. Mark danger when targeting, I have that on. I think it's when you ping, like when you double tap the ping or when you ADS or something, it marks danger, so you can use that for enemies or whatever. Auto pick up weapons, I have that off. Personal preference again. Personally, I don't think it's very useful, so that's why I have it off. Auto sort consumables to right, I would have that on because it means you don't have to rearrange your inventory so often. And then reset building choice, I have that off. Turbo building on, definitely put that on. And confirm edit on release, personal preference again. I like confirm edit on release because it means I don't have to press a button to confirm the edit. So I just like that on. And then the rest of these aren't really important. Video highlights for your clipping software. Record replays off, because having it on, unless you're VOD reviewing yourself, in which case have it on, but I would keep it off to save your FPS and have all of these off. Okay, now onto your game UI settings. I have this on 70%. I know some people like it around 60, just so it's not too big, but personally I think it's a bit small, so back up to 70. Rest of these, I mean, show spectators count if you want, reticle definitely, player health definitely. All of these should be on, apart from latency debug stats. I have quest progress off, vehicle controls and creative runtime performance stats off. Just mess around with these, see what you like, and yeah. Now onto my sensitivity. I have 800 DPI and I play on 4.8x and 4.3y, 55% targeting sensitivity and 50% scope sensitivity. Now it's quite specific. This was just me messing around with sensors that I liked, and I've stayed on this sense for 4 months, so yay. It's a good sense, I like it, but then again, it's personal preference really. If you want good low sensitivity to try out, maybe try out mine, but mine is just, yeah, again, it's personal preference. I'm not really sure what this does, nor am I sure what this does. Don't really know what these do either. I think these are pretty useless, to be honest. Here are my controller settings. I don't play controller that often, but when I do, these are my settings. I copied them from a good friend of mine. I'll just let you copy these. And yeah, those are my controller settings. Now to audio settings. I would turn your music off completely. It's awful. Don't have it on. Sound quality high. You should always have it on high. 3D headphones I would have on because it provides sort of spatial audio, so you can hear like the location of sounds much more like sort of precisely, so you can hear if someone's behind you, above, and whatever. Background audio, notifications only. If you're sort of tabbed out, you probably don't want to hear the game sound, so I just have it on notifications. Visualize sound effects. I would turn this off unless you have a broken headset or something, in which case use this setting, but I have it off because I don't know what it is, but it really messes with your audio settings. Like, I can't hear people behind me. It's really messed up, so I have this off. And then these are all my voice chat settings, and then this option is not very important. Alright, next onto my keybinds. I use WASD. I don't use double movement binds. I tried them and I really didn't like them. I thought they were too much effort, so I switched off. I jump on spacebar, my auto run. My crouch is on left control, which frees up my cone bind, which I put on left shift. And then yeah, reload on R. Harvesting tool V. These are my weapon slots. Now I have I've got 3 mouse buttons on my mouse. So I've tried to put all of them on, all my building binds on my mouse, so I don't have to touch them on the keyboard so often. So I basically only have my roof bind on my keyboard and the rest are on my mouse, and that's how I like it. It's just much easier for me. Trap on T, building edit on F, I use scroll wheel reset, rotate building on R, and yeah, that's basically it. Not really sure what other settings I've got down here, but you can just look through these if there's something specific you're looking for. Okay, this is like my controller configuration. I don't really think this is that important. So yeah, you can pause if you want to copy this. If you got to the end of this video, thank you so much. You are a loyal subscriber, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.